Hey there. So today I want to talk about this idea of writing resumes as a copywriting job or as a copywriting project or that kind of thing. Now, first of all, it's your career, right? You do what you want to do. But there are a couple of things that I want to just talk a little bit about writing resumes for people as a copywriting client, is copywriting service. First of all, resumes themselves are not really copy. It's much more a content play, right? You're looking to educate the person who's reading them about your client. There's not much selling or persuading opportunity. There's a little bit, certainly, but that's not really a copy project per se. And again, not a problem at all. We certainly do content projects for our clients if we want to. But when it comes to it, first of all, the real opportunity to make an impact if you're going to do this kind of work for clients is in that cover letter. And CCA students know that a cover letter, like a pitch letter, is a very specific kind of framework and a very it's just very different from the way that most people write cover letters. And so that can be a really great opportunity to move the needle for potential clients. Whereas as a copywriter, if you're working with a resume, what you're mostly going to be doing is like switching out words here and there, probably a lot of editing. You could work on a USP for them, and that's great. A unique selling point, that's great. But as a copywriter, you're not going to be able to do a ton to their resume, but you will be able to do a lot more work on someone's cover letter. But something else I do want to put out there is if you love doing resumes and cover letters and you love helping people in that way, awesome. But it's not, strictly speaking, it's not the kind of project that's going to help you build your big copywriting business because you're working with individuals. And so it's not going to give you a lot to put into your portfolio to prove how good you are to other big clients who are going to be looking for those kinds of services. All that a good cover letter is going to prove is to other individuals who will want you, that you can write cover letters. And that's great, but just know that again, if it's something that you love to do, great. If it's not something you love to do, I hate writing cover letters and writing resumes. Whenever friends would ask me, I would always kind of go, sure, I'd be happy to, and then just be miserable through it. So again, if it's something you like to do, great, but it's not really a traditional copywriting project, right? We think more of if your goal is to be working with businesses more than with individuals, doing more work with individuals is not going to help prove your value to businesses or to larger organizations. And filling your portfolio with cover letters is not going to do anything, or not going to do much, I should say, to demonstrate your skills to bigger companies. So when you're thinking about, I think sometimes there's some newer copywriters that take on cover letter projects and take on resume projects because it feels a little bit safer to them, because they're working with one individual versus a company, and because it's something maybe they've done before, they feel a little bit more familiar with. But the problem is that it's really hard to scale into bigger projects with a cover letter, right? Because you're writing it for an individual. Whereas when you write for a company, you can start with a smaller project and turn it into something much bigger. But a cover letter or resume project is really just going to be by its nature, one-off, right? Because you do it well, then they get a job. And yeah, maybe they refer you to someone else, but you never get a chance to build a project bigger than that. And that's part of what you want to be doing when you're working with a bigger organization, with a company or a nonprofit or something like that, is to be a valuable partner to help them with multiple types of projects. Also, it's going to be really hard to scale up your income if you only take small projects like cover letters and like resumes, because you're going to reach a certain maximum of how much your average person is going to be willing to spend. Sure, a CEO, someone like that might be willing to spend several $100s, super. But your average CEO is also not going to be using a cover letter to apply for things, right? The average person who needs a cover letter is someone who is not at a high level of achievement yet. Just your average person, right? And your average person is not going to be willing to spend several $100s on a cover letter. So I just wanted to just set some expectations, and not expectations, but just talk about this a little bit, so that if you've been thinking like, oh, maybe I'll offer, resume writing services or cover letter writing services, my caution to you is that sometimes that can be resistance a little bit, encouraging you to think small. Because it feels kind of safe, right? Well, I'm doing services for one person, and I can't get it too wrong because I've done this kind of stuff before. And again, if you really love doing resumes, if you really love doing cover letters, you can. But in terms of building your copywriting business, your copywriting career, they're not going to advance you in the same way that other projects with companies, with organizations, with nonprofits would. And you won't be able to build a partnership with those companies, organizations, nonprofits. I should say you won't be able to build a partnership the way that you would with companies, organizations, nonprofits, and have regular clients that you work with every single month, which can make things a lot easier versus having to re-pitch all the time. So bottom line, can you offer resume services and cover letter services? Yeah, if it's in your heart, if you really love it, I would just be cautious, because first of all, too, remember your target audience for a cover letter or resume is going to be very different for the target audience for the rest of your services, which could confuse could make it difficult to put messaging on your website, because you're all of a sudden then you have two totally different groups of target audiences. And also to just frankly, writing cover letters and writing resumes, if you make it a something that you want to do regularly, you're going to limit your business, because it's only ever going to be one-off projects, and you're going to be limited by how much you can charge for those projects. So just wanted to offer my 2 cents about resumes and cover letters, because I know that they do kind of come up and they seem like, oh, an easy way to get started. But remember, sometimes when things are easy, it means that they don't have the results or the payback that other things do that are just maybe a little bit further outside of your comfort zone. So take that for what you will, take for what it's worth. I mean, it's worth a lot. I've been doing this for a while, but do with that what you will. Maybe that's what I want to say. But I just wanted to offer up those 2 cents if you've been kind of thinking or hearing about resumes or cover letters, anything like that.